Welcome to Home Dad Chat, brought to you by the National At Home Dad Network. My name is Brock,
My name is Danny.
and we are here to talk about life as stay at home dads. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
No, I don't want much. I even love handmade crafts made of macaroni. Come on now, you should know me. Times I might eat too much. No worry about my weight, got the dad bod rocking on me. Sketches on my feet, cargo shorts look good on me. I'm a dad, that's what I do.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to Home Dad Chat. Danny and I, we're here. We're present. We could also be not here and not present, but you can hear our voices. So something's going on. And I would love to say that that's a joke, but that's the full truth of the matter. I don't know how the rest of you feel out there, but definitely it's been one of those just my body's moving. My mind is keeping me, somewhere in the realm of reality. And my kids are still alive and they're fed.
I was gonna say probably fed, yeah.
Yeah. And my wife is working, doing her thing that she needs to, that she's needing to get done, and the house isn't on fire. So winning all around.
Call it a win for sure.
Aside from all of that, emotions are high, just because I don't know, it's just that kind of area. I mean, like, just kind of where last episode ended, as far as where I was at that time mentally, like, not a whole lot's really changed. It's a roller coaster. So and I feel like Danny's kind of right there on the same train with me on this, and I feel like there's a lot of guys like that online right now. So
it's been a hell of a year.
It's
it's just been 18 days.
18 days.
God, man, can you stop?
It is the slow roll for sure. Oh my gosh.
But hey, Valentine's Day is coming.
I mean, that's my son's birthday, so it's about all Valentine's. That's about all Valentine's Day is now.
No, man. Seriously though, are you gonna do something for Valentine's Day?
Probably not. We typically don't do a whole lot. I mean, it's his day. Has been now his coming
night.
Up.
Is it his night though? Come on.
It's
a lot of time in that 24 hours.
Yeah. We'll see.
No.
It does.
You have to start anything after, even if you're going to dinner or anything like that, you generally have to do stuff after the kids go to bed. And by then, I'm ready to go to bed.
Well, and Valentine's Day this year is the Monday after Super Bowl. So that's the other weird part. Like, you've got the weekend. Sunday is Super Bowl Sunday. And so, you think about how hard it is to even get in places for Super Bowl Sunday, and then you tack on like a Valentine's Day weekend type of thing to it.
Just go ahead and tell my wife we're not doing anything for Valentine's either. Because I know what she's going to want to do on Super Bowl Sunday is to watch the game.
Yeah.
And with as many snacks as she can get, whatever food, if I could bring like some prime rib sliders with, melted provolone in it and all that stuff she wants, that's what she wants. And I'm going to do that. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to be cooking. I'm going to get it everything that I can right for her, set her down. And then Monday will come around and it'll be Valentine's Day. And I'm like, this entire house is wrecked.
Yep.
And one of us is slightly hungover. I say we just call it a win that we woke up and moved.
There you go. Well, and that's so you were talking about like what to do for Valentine's Day. First I was like nothing, and then I thought to myself, there actually is this really neat thing that I keep seeing trending like on Instagram and TikTok and stuff, and it's basically where you go to like Target or some store like that, and you have categories. So like you pick out your spouse or partner's favorite drink, their favorite like snack food items. You pick out like maybe an outfit that they might like, kind of deal. Like you can keep it all within range. Like, it's like, all right, we're just gonna look for like pajamas or something like that. I think there's like 5 different things that you look for or whatever. And so it's sort of like a date night kind of deal, and in this case, like, maybe you go pick out like a favorite movie or something like that. Of course, with the fact that pretty much everything streams, like going and buying a DVD really isn't quite necessary, but maybe you just write it down on a piece of paper and you like present it that way. Be like, this is what we're going to watch streaming wise. But I thought that was kind of a cool idea. And I think for anybody who's like, what do I do in this situation? It's like, All right. Well, here's a fun way to find out like how much do you truly know about your spouse and vice versa, and like let's make it fun and see what happens out of
I
it.
don't know. For some people, that sounds like a minefield, man. It's like, how do you know? How much do you know? Oh, well, I know they like Valentine's Day.
Oh, well, there is that.
On the
Yeah.
spot. Put them on the spot.
You put a target on their back, I guess, is the other way to go with it.
But you know, and I think too, because Marnie and I are very romantic in our ways, and we have, have always sent each other love letters, and we always, we're very a lot of public displays of affection. And I think anybody that talks to me for more than, let's say, 20 minutes will find out that I'm in love with my wife. It's going to be a constant subject. And so we know that. So we can kind of, pull back a little bit on Valentine's Day, I think, especially we've been married for going on 17 years, I think. And we've known each other at least 20.
Yeah.
And so, if we skip Valentine's, I think it would still be, it would be okay. But at the same time, I'm definitely going to get her a card. I've got a card already picked out that I'm going to actually make for her, but it's not romantic at all. It's terrible, but it's a horrible, dirty joke that she will laugh at.
Hey, there you go.
And that's the thing. Yeah. It's that because it's more about the relationship, and we've talked in the past about dating your spouse, always having that constant, okay, so maybe we have a date night only once a month, but that's our time to get together. Mm-hmm. Or, silly things like we'll sit, and watch TV. Okay, we're both tired. We're gonna just veg out in front of the TV, but you do it sitting next to each other, and you share the shows at least. Maybe you don't even hold hands or touch or anything like that, but you're doing those things together as partners. And that goes a long way, in my opinion, to building that intimacy and kind of building in that foundation of romance.
Oh yeah, definitely. I agree completely. I mean, you've got to figure out a way to keep that going. I know that for Corey and I, we've been in a rut where that's not been at the top of our list on things. And there's some different reasons behind why, but I think the biggest one is just stress. So just trying to figure that all out. But yeah, I mean, I think that it just takes some time to think things through. Like, we're coming up on 15 years of marriage. So I completely understand, the long game of it all. And, you gotta be able to use those inside jokes and things like that to, have just kind of carry on that side of things. I mean, if you forget how to laugh in your marriage, you really need to reevaluate what's going on. So
yeah, I mean, we don't all have the privilege or the fortune to be married to our best friend.
True.
That's a truth of life, and it just is what it is. However, I always think there was a reason you married this person. There was, when you met this person, or when you were just, I want to marry this person, live with them forever.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you need to think about. Even as we change, even as we grow, being reminded of who that person is to you is a very big thing that a lot of us let go, because again, that day-to-day grind, especially with kids.
Oh yeah.
Kids just suck the life out of you. And at the end of the day, you're like, I don't want to talk to anybody. You're my best friend and I love you, but can you just GTFO? Cause I'm just going to read a book, or I'm going to drink a beer. I'm just, whatever I'm going to do. I want to do it alone, which is personally perfectly reasonable to a point.
Oh yeah. I think that's a fun conversation to have with, the fact that you get somebody who, maybe they're just getting married or whatever, like you meet them and they've just got married, and it's like, what advice do you have? And it's like, you see that woman right there, or that person that you just married, what kind of things what kind of things attracted you to them? And I guarantee like the first things that most of them will say is physical features. Like, it's just like, that's kind of like the first thing most people think of. And you're like, all right, now, are you planning on, are kids in the works at all? And, if they say yes, it's like, all right, well, that person's going to change physically. You might not change physically right off the bat, but they're going to change physically. And you have to be able to understand that that's going to be a hurdle. And then on top of that, they're also probably going to change mentally as well.
Mhm.
So that person's going to become somebody a little bit different than the person that you fell in love with. But you have to remind yourself, I love that person, and find different ways to continue on with that. Because I think that's a big thing that gets missed a lot. It's like, oh, I'm in love and it's so great and wonderful. And oh, this is, and then it's like the real world hits and the shit hits the fan. And you're like, hey, like these are the things, you want to look back at long marriages, that kind of thing. Like, what did they go through? What kind of things did they deal with? And, there might've been times where they might not have liked each other very much, but they knew in the long run, like that would go away and love would still remain in that type of thing. And so, that's the one thing that I learned real quick, after we had our first kid was, all right, she's a bit of a different person in some ways, but there's a lot of still the girl I fell in love with, she's still there. It's just in a different way in some areas. And then also too, like finding ways to bring some of those old things, old personalities, old character traits back up, through, what you plan to do and that kind of thing. So like, like you were talking about, like having that inside joke, that, those kind of deals. So, I mean, that is truly like the give and take of a relationship. And, it's one to not be missed or overlooked for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I think too, going on where we ended last week and kind of how we started out this week. And I think a lot of times as you and I've gotten to know each other, how we start out our conversations is a part of a good relationship is, especially in marriage, is emotional openness.
Yeah.
Being one, self-aware. So what you're feeling, what's going on. You have words for all the stuff you're feeling, but then the willingness or even the courage, I would say in some cases, to go to your partner, your best friend, your spouse, and say, this is what I'm feeling, and, preface it. If it's going to be something bad, I love you. And I think I will always love you. I can't see a time when I couldn't love you. However, I'm very angry with you. I'm very resentful of this. I'm very sad that this happened. I'm very frustrated that every time I do this, you do this, whatever it is. But that ability to communicate is not easy. Or it's not easy for everybody, I should say. I would think you and I have a pretty much easier time than most people communicating. We just that's what we do.
Right.
But like for the majority of people, and Marnie included, she's fine with texting and emails, but she never wants to be on the phone. She'll call me, but she never wants to call people. It's a horrible experience for her for whatever reason. And she is open about her emotions, but it's easier for her to do it in text or whatever. But it wasn't the first thing that she, went to with, I'm going to tell you how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you, we were, honeymoon phase. I love you. I love you too. I'll love you forever. You're not getting out of this relationship alive.
Yeah.
And that's where we are today.
There's no plan B. I guess that's the one.
Exactly.
That's the one that we use a lot.
No plan B. This is it. You're stuck with me. There's no refunds. I threw away the receipt. The
other thing that I get told from her is that she gets to die first, which I think is so unfair. But she said it could be like 2 seconds before. She gets to go first. I'm like, great, okay.
Yeah.
Apparently, I missed that in the small print in the contract before I signed.
Whoops.
Oh well. Yeah. Oh well. But yeah. Well, speaking about former episodes as well, we've had some really cool interactions with some listeners that I kind of wanted to put out there. I really enjoyed Eric Shorberg's message he sent out with his He-Man and how he was passing down his He-Man toys to his kids. And even though they broke, he like super glued the legs back on. I'm like, yeah, that's how you keep that going.
That's right. That's not broke forever. That just needs a little repair.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they can still play with it. They don't need full action.
Even without legs, it don't matter. You can still play with it. So it's He-Man, because He-Man was just Now, I don't know how many you had or what you had. I was much more, and I think I've said this before, into Star Wars and G.I. Joe guys. That's where, what we had. But what I always wanted from the Masters of the Universe was Battle Cat.
Oh yeah.
And I just like, oh,
yeah.
Man. But it was always too expensive. And we weren't even going to look at that as a kid. But man, that thing, I'm just like that.
Battle Cat was the car tank thing, right? Like that wasn't like the actual. Are we talking about? We're talking about Cringer turning into Battle Cat.
Yeah,
okay,
into Battle Cat.
Well, I just know that there was like, I remember there being like a vehicle as well at one point too, so I wasn't sure.
No. Also, the Thundercat's an amazing tank. I'm just saying, but yeah,
that's a whole nother thing. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, no, I definitely was into He-Man. I had Castle Grayskull and
oh, cool,
all that. Yeah, like. And it opened up and did all kinds of cool things. So, and I've recently have watched the 2 seasons that they put out with the remake on Netflix, and it's amazing.
Excellent job, right?
Oh yeah, Kevin Smith and the guys, like kudos, like for real, like well done.
And seeing it, because we've had so many things that were kind of a rehash or a remake, and we had and you get to a point, you're like, oh, what else you're going to remake? And so when it comes out, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of like, well, we'll see what it is. Like Dune, the book was okay. It was really meaty, but the 84, 87, whichever movie it was, with the big hair and the drums and that was amazing. I was in top 5. Anytime that movie's on, I'll stop and watch it. All right. And so they remade it, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I did watch
the new one that they put out on HBO.
I loved it.
It was good.
I loved it. It was an epic movie. I mean, it was really at the level of the books, in my opinion, which are, too much to read, I think. And I love to read. It's just too much.
It's a slow roll, but it's good though. But yeah,
He-Man. And they did it so well. I was like, I was expecting it to be kind of goofy. I didn't think that they would really get, the excitement and the adventure behind it.
Yeah.
They did the remake of She-Ra. And I've only seen a few of those episodes.
She-Ra's okay. I find She-Ra to be a little more like for the kids than it is for the adults. Just the way that it's drawn, and even the banter that goes on. But with He-Man, it was a continuation of the story that had already been played out from the 80s. And so I remember listening to I believe Art Eddie did an interview with Kevin Smith about it, and he was talking. Yeah, Art.
Good job, Art. Do
it. Art, man. He's grabbing up everybody. But he interviewed him, and in the interview, they were talking about the fact that the guys who wrote the original He-Man came to him and was like, "Hey, would you want to produce this? Like, we're gonna write it." And so you have the original writers from the 80s there, and then you get Kevin Smith to come on and produce it, and he's really big into comic books and everything, and then to really just sort of put the whole thing into play, you get Mark Hamill to play the voice of Skeletor. I mean, right, honestly, like, so it was like this amazing sandwich of nostalgia that got put together, and to sit there and watch it was awesome. My kids loved it. So but yeah, I mean, that's the fun thing. Like, that's what we were talking about being dads. Like, you get to pass that kind of stuff down to your kids. So, so it was neat to see Eric talk about that and point that out. Saw a shout out from Brett Landry about us just giving him some love or whatever. So, so that was cool. And then you'd mentioned one of the guys stating that he really connected with what you were talking about with your family dynamic and with your kids and stuff. And so I love that, man. That's those are the kind of things that keep me going in the podcast world. It's like, oh, like people are listening. Wow. Like, it's not going into the void. Like, it's actually going into people's ears.
I mean, we're having fun, but just the thought that somebody else is having fun too. All right. That's the thing. Sure. Did we give a shout out last week to Ed Levezzo?
We did.
We're going to give another one tonight, because I forgot last week. I forgot that I did it last week.
Yeah, you did.
So I'm just going to make sure, because my boy Ed, he's just, He's my boy.
Yeah, I tagged him, and I tagged him in the thing as well when we went out.
About running. That's right. You and Ketz Island Ed doing the challenge. Or I guess just Ketz Island Ed, but you're like,
I won in.
You signed the paper or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll get in there eventually.
Well, that's the thing too, is you have the motivation, you have the desire. Basically, you're literally waiting for the doctor to say, okay, you're in good enough shape, you've healed, you can get up and get moving, because you can't play around with it, especially not in your 40s.
Right.
So
well, and it's like
good.
And going to PT and then coming home and feeling like kind of like crap because you're like worn out from all the different new muscle movement things. So because that was the thing today, I was like, yeah, like I could get the bike out and like put it on the trainer and kind of get it ready. And I like walk down there and I'm like, I have like I don't have the energy. I just don't. Like, oh, this is tiring just thinking about. So
yeah,
it's there. It'll come into play. It's just it's all a process. So
you have the motivation, and the other thing is too that you do get in your 40s. It makes it a little bit easier. A lot of times you have the self-discipline that you didn't have when you were younger. Because motivation will get you moving, but it's the self-discipline that's going to, no, I'm going to get up every morning.
See, my problem is I felt like I had more self-discipline when I was younger because of what I was. Oh yeah. Cause I was way more involved in training and riding my bike and things like that. And now it's like, I can come up with an excuse for why not to do it. Cause it's like, I'm old. I have kids. I have all these other responsibilities.
Man, kids goes a long way. Kids will get you out of just about anything. If anybody ever has a problem of, like canceling an event, you just call somebody with a kid. They're like, hey man, can you say this happened so that we don't have to go? Because everybody will believe you. Yeah, my kid's throwing up. Oh no, don't come over.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah, it's especially right now. Hey, my kid's sick. Oh, you're out. Okay.
Kid's sick. Oh yeah, I don't want to see you. Don't come anywhere near me.
Oh.
Yeah. Or try to give you the stomach flu. Ugh, man, people passing diseases around. It's kind of really funny because after wearing a mask for 2-3 years, whatever it's been now, 7 decades,
10 years
before COVID was really, in force, we would just go to people's houses or go to events and get people sick. We go to work sick and we just get people sick. And it's like, everybody's going to get the cold anyway. So here it is. No, that's probably not the most intelligent way to live. It's probably better to, I got a cough, I'm going to just put a mask on so I don't hack on you. I love that it's a completely different mentality between where we were before and after. Well, for a lot of people.
Not everybody, but yeah.
We don't want to go down that path.
No, let's not. Okay, we're gonna shut that door. Okay, that's closed.
Nice sound effects.
On to other things. Yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
So with we're getting close to the end of January, so we're almost out of the first cold month, going into what I would consider to be like, I feel like February is like the coldest month. Like it tends to be the freezer of all things. But we've got lots of things going on in the football world. And I know that we had Mike on a while back to talk football. I was actually this past weekend, it was kind of fun. So the Bengals were playing their playoff game, and they won their game for the first time in 31 years. I was 10 years old.
Cheers.
When they won the last time in the playoffs. They honestly, like, it's really exciting with that. But I was talking with a guy by the name of Michael Kennedy, who I met through Dad too. He's the voice of the 49ers, and was talking with him about because they were playing the Cowboys, and that was a whole nother game. But it was just fun to like have those conversations with like another dad and talking with them about football. And so it was fun because I was talking with him about the 49ers game, and then I was actually texting my dad during the Bengals game because he was watching it. He was streaming it. I was watching it on live television.
Yeah.
And so there's like a 45-second like gap in between. so like I would like text something that was going on, and after about 3 or 4 times of doing that at the beginning, my dad's like, stop it, like that hasn't even happened yet. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm just giving you good news from the future.
That's right. I'm trying to be good to you, Dad.
Yeah. And so I would start to pause, like I would wait a little bit before I would like actually like send him a text, or wait for him to like actually put out the text sometimes on it. But at one point, like when the game got to the end, I just couldn't help it. And I'm just like, yeah, way to go. And he was like, what? And like I called him and I was like, woohoo. He's like, it hasn't even ended yet.
Like, so you're much kinder than I am. Oh my God, I can't believe we lost. Oh my God.
Oh, well, I mean, I could have done that and given him a heart attack because that's pretty much how the game it ended with an interception on the 2-yard line. So it was a little bit crazy.
Don't do it if it causes a heart attack.
No, I didn't need that.
Heart attacks aren't funny.
Yeah.
Well, they are funny, but not when they happen to people.
No. So anyway, yeah. So it's just kind of fun, like just having that time with him and being able to do that, even though he was far away. So yeah, I've gotten more into football this year than I have in past years. So,
we were more into college ball in Georgia, living in Athens, or very close to Athens, which is the home of the Georgia Bulldogs.
Oh, national champs.
Yeah. So that was a good game too. And the funniest thing is that it's not that, surprising, I guess, but I go and I'm getting a pickup order for my groceries, right? And the guy comes up and he kind of knocks on the window to show you the order and, make sure he's got the right person or whatever. And he's wearing a Georgia Bulldog face mask. Right. And I know, the big game. All right, cool. But, you can be a fan at any time, but it was worn. It's been used, you could tell. And so I said, are you a dog fan? And he said, I sure am. Yes, sir. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Where are you from? And he goes, well, I'm from here. All right. And do you live in? He goes, no, never been there. Don't know anything. I'm like, and you're just a fan. He goes, yeah. And
wow.
His father said basically, I think it was a Gators and Dogs game, and he said, I don't care as long as the Gators lose. And he'd watched that game with his dad, and his dad kind of was encouraging him to cheer for the Dogs, and he said it stuck. And it was like, this is what I did forever. And he said, my dad was like, can't you get somebody local? I'm like, no, Dad, it's the Dogs. This is what we do. Go Dogs. Yeah. And it was really funny to see him here in the middle of Wisconsin,
Nice. Well, hey, he gets to run into another fellow dog fan. So
yep.
Give me
absolutely.
That. That's cool.
I found out my dad is a Packers fan.
Really?
Right.
Okay.
My dad's from Clearwater, Florida, and was born and raised in Georgia for the majority of his life that I was aware of. And I mentioned that we were up here, and he goes, how far are you from Green Bay? And I'm like, well, I don't know, it's probably an hour and a half or so. He said, well, I'm just going to say, if you ever get a chance to go down and, just take a picture of yourself there, or, send me a hat or something, it would be, and I said, are you a Packers fan? Because he's a Dogs fan. I know that. I mean, he makes jokes about bleeding red and black or whatever. And I'm like, you're a Packers fan? And he said, yeah, I know. But when he was in football in high school, and it was the early 60s, and that was when the Packers were really big.
Yeah.
And he said all the football we watched was Packers ball. Everything we saw was Packers, and the field there and the coach and all this. He said, this is just how I grew up with football. There wasn't anything going on in Georgia, And I said, wow, that is just the small world. I never would have thought that he liked really any professional teams.
So we're gonna see a That 70s Show event with you. You're gonna bring Red Foreman to the up there to the stadium. No. Hey, I just have one thing: don't buy a Bears jersey while you're up there, okay? Do you know that episode? Eric Foreman,
but that's just obviously a bad idea. Come on.
My gosh! Well, so Eric Foreman, he gets his dad tickets to go to a Bears game. Like I don't know where they got him from, but like the whole crew goes. And Eric's not he's not a sports ball guy at all. Like for real. Like he just fits the persona of just a complete like nerd. But he wanted to do something cool for his dad, and so he invited him to go to the Bears Packers game at Lambeau, and nice. His dad's like super excited, acting completely out of character with him as far as like just showing him all this love, and Eric just doesn't know how to like really take it all, and so he's kind of weirded out. But he's like, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get a jersey or something. And his dad's like, oh really? And he like gives him like some cash, and he's like, go get one. Not even like thinking like anything about it. Dude comes back in a freaking Bears jersey and in like a whole area where the Packers are at. And just we'll just say like insanity and violence ensues or whatever. Like,
Well,
and so
having watched the show, I know what Red said, because Red is one of my favorite dads, although he's so very cranky. But he just looked at him and went, dumbass.
Oh, it was even better than
just...
that. It was who is this guy? Yeah, what is he doing? Like he just completely disowned him, like right there. He's like, you go sit at the other end of the aisle.
Wrong jersey, boy.
Yeah, wrong jersey. So yeah, yeah. So don't do that. But
no.
Sounds like your dad would probably like lose it to get to go to Lambeau Field.
Yeah, he's his health has kind of declined, so I don't know that he'll ever get that chance. But I did tell him if I ever do, I will send him a picture.
I have to send him a cheese head.
I was just right. I sent him a hat. You know, it was funny because I'm like, well, it'd be all right if I sent you like a Packers hat for Christmas. And I asked his wife, or I think I did, but whoever asked, that was like, that was a great idea. Let's do it. So I went to Fleet Farm.
There you go.
15 minutes from my house, picked up a Packers hat and mailed it from there.
There you go.
He's not gonna know. Come on, it's a Packers hat. It's the same. It's good. We're all good.
Oh, that's funny. That's awesome though. Well, that's like, I mean, my dad's a diehard Bengals fan. Never even lived in the state of Ohio.
Nice.
You know, and he's a diehard Reds fan too. And it's so funny because like he's had points where even he's like, I'm just done. I'm done. You know, they're horrible. Like, you know, because they did have some really bad seasons and stuff. And he was just like, I'm just done. And I'm like, yeah, right. Yeah, sure you are, Dad. Like you've got so many jerseys and so many things. Like you're not even close to done. Like, I mean, he basically put a shrine. It was like watching, you know, in Major League where you've got the one guy who's got like all the shrine of things. He's like, Jobu, like don't mess with Jobu. Yeah. Like my dad had all this stuff in front of the TV for the playoffs game. And my wife was like, did he just build a shrine to the Bengals? Like right there.
He did, whatever.
And I'm like, pretty much. Yeah, that's what it was. But I remember moving down here to Cincinnati and like running into Anthony Munoz at an event at the college I was going to, and he was preaching, and I went out and bought like a couple of Bengals, like just kind of fun, like nothing like really expensive, but just like footballs. And he signed one for me and one for my dad. And I took it to my dad and he was just like, oh my gosh. And it, you know, it's just kind of fun stuff like that. And, you know, I've gotten him some other, I got him an autographed Pete Rose book one time. And he's like, how are you doing all this? And I'm like, the connections, like I don't know what to tell you, man. Like
it doesn't matter as long as I do it right.
You know, it all works out
for you.
Well, it's like he was like, I need an AFC North championship shirt, and like I was looking at some stuff, and I was like, I think I found you the shirt, and my mom or something was like, he needs an extra large. Like, I know what size he needs. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I know my dad. But I'm like, hey, I got to get this for him. You know, I got to keep my my favorite son status up.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, that's a good time.
To tell you, anybody who knows me will understand this. So this is the kind of person I am. So my wife's family is all from Minnesota. Right.
Right.
And so we're here in basically Packerstown. And I go to the bank here because we had to get a new bank because they don't have our bank up here. So we got a different bank card. And the guy said, well, just, you know, pick the card, the picture you want on your debit card. And I'm going to show it because there's no numbers on the front. So you can't get anything off of it. And he wouldn't get anything out of it anyway. But so I got the
you got a Minnesota Vikings.
I got the Vikings. I got
That's
the Vikings
cool
card. Yeah. And I pulled it up and it's bright purple, you know, and I pulled it up on the list thing and I said, that's the one I want. And the bank guy at the bank, he stopped and he looks at me, said, are you sure? Like, do you know where you are? And I said, I have to tell you, anywhere that I go, that I pull that card out and somebody says something, I will have the best conversation with this person. This will be the reason that we talk, no matter what it is, because the reality of it is I have no dog in this hunt. I have no team. I'm not, you know, I like it when like the Braves won. Okay. I couldn't tell you any of the players on the Braves team currently. You know, I mean, I can't. I don't know who's playing, but I know that's the team that I've loved my whole life because that's where I lived. But I don't care if they win.
Oh, I love it though when banks have cards like that. Though those are fun. Like I was when we were using a bank that was one of the sponsors for the Reds. They had a specific card that you could get. I think it was like $20 for like the year or whatever, for this card. But the thing that came with it was the fact that it gave you discount on tickets and on merchandise at the pro shop downtown.
Oh, nice.
So like I could take it down and go by, like I would get people all the time to be like, hey, like I want to go to this game or whatever. And I'm like, hey, like let me know what game it is. I can go down. I'll get tickets for half price during the week. Cause like Monday through, I think it was like Monday through Thursday or something like that. It was half price tickets. So like, hey, like let me know, like I'll go get the tickets. And so, or I would tell guys like, hey, like let's go to the game. Like I can get tickets for free. You know, it's like the seats that are $32 I can get for $16. I mean, who wouldn't want to do that? I mean, they're awesome seats. And so we did that. Or you go game day and you get like, I think it was like 20% discount in like the shop or whatever on anything that you purchased. And I'm just like, dude, like that card is awesome. But when you pull it out and it's got like Mr. Red on it, people are like, where did you get that card at? That is so cool.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
Yeah. So, you know, it's fun stuff. I mean, it's just a fun way to show off some of the sports pride side of things or whatever. So
a little bit of your love.
Yeah. And I really don't know how we got to this point, but you know, it's been a good conversation.
Good conversation. Maybe not said anything of worth, but it was fun for us. So.
Hey, it's all good.
I've finished my sample of the Russell Reserve Private Barrel Select.
Did it taste better after I had you put that little drop of water in there?
I want to tell the audience and listening members that I started it. I usually drink my scotch. I never put anything in it. It's always neat. And so I start with that tonight, and it burned, and it was awful, and it hurt me a little, and I cried like I do now. But yeah, so everybody will know I got on, and I'm just like, it's a little hot, too much fire, not the warmth. And Brock was kind enough to go put just a couple drops of water in there.
Yep.
And bam, made it all the difference.
Couple drops of water, man, and it'll open it all up. So
it was delicious, and now I'm warm.
And
that's about it. I can't get drunk off a shot of anything, but.
Well, since you're finished yours, I'll finish mine and I'll tell you what it is real quick, and then we'll end the show.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers indeed. So I just finished off Hotel Tango Reserve, which is it's a George Dickel's distilled and then bottled and blended up at Hotel Tango in Indianapolis, which is actually a cool place. It's the first disabled veteran-owned distillery in the country. And man, they make some good juice. So definitely a good one if you're looking at Hotel Tango on the shelf. Pick one up. It's worth it. So I think it's only like 90 proof.
Should be noted that it's also one that your wife approves of.
It is. It's one that my wife really likes a lot
of times.
Yeah,
it's a lot of the stuff that we drink.
Nope.
It's not
it usually does not get the pass, but this one has got the as soon as that bottle's gone, you can go buy another one, which that's the approval that you really want.
That's definitely the approval you want.
Yeah. So excited about being able to go buy another bottle of that and put it on my nice new shelf.
Nice.
So yeah. Well, it's that time.
Yep,
I think
time to go.
Time to sign off. I'm hoping next week, honestly, to have a special guest on here. I'm gonna work real hard to make that happen for next week, and we'll have a fun conversation with that person and see where things go into the future a little bit. So, but until then,
great year.
It is. It's going to be a good year. We're going to make it through this. It'll be all good. So, but until then, everybody have a great week, and we'll talk to y'all again real soon. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
I'm a dad, that's what I do.